Hello. We will be talking about what you call as stock transport order. This is one of the integration area for materials management and SD. So it is SD integration main point. It is normally used in all the companies, any manufacturing activity, as well as quite favorite topic on interviews. So the process what is involved is a stock transport order is between two plants. This can be within the two plants can be within company code or outside the company code also. What essentially happens is, let's take an example wherein we are talking about an intercompany purchase orders, wherein say plant UK plant is ordering goods from its China plant. And what China plant would be doing is, let's say China, Dell China would be is the plant which will supply to UK. So Dell UK will be creating a purchase order to Dell China. So once China gets that purchase order, it will create on a relevant date, say after 1 month when the goods are produced, it will deliver the goods by creating a delivery. The delivery type is normally either NL if it is within the company code or NLCC if it is outside the company code. Herein you can see delivery type is NL within the company code. If you are using intercompany billing, it is NLCC. So once you create delivery, as I mentioned, if it's outside the company code, we will be using intercompany billing. So you can create an intercompany billing document as well. So when the goods are received by this receiving company, that is Dell UK, it can do goods receipt with reference to delivery or with reference to a purchase order. It depends upon your business scenario. What is the configuration behind it? We have to create, just to give an overview. So as I mentioned, the steps involved are create purchase order on supplying plant, and herein I mentioned a release purchase order also. What happens is, if I'm a clerk working low level, I'm authorized only to order up to say 100,000 pounds. If the order is more than 100,000 pounds, my boss has to release this purchase order. It's like releasing credit memo. So you have to release a purchase order. So there is a different transaction called ME29N. So the process is create purchase order. If required, release the purchase order. Purchase order is raised to our supplying plant. Then the supplying plant, upon receipt of the purchase order, will create a delivery, and if required, it will create an intercompany invoice. And the receiving plant, when it receives the goods, it can receive the goods based upon the purchase order or a delivery. Now looking at the configuration step, essentially what we required is, this receiving plant is a customer for us, for this delivering plant. So you have to create a customer for this receiving plant and assign this customer number in the configuration for this plant. And then create a supplier plant and receiving plant relationship with a purchase order type. So what you need to create is supplying plant, receiving plant, and a purchase order type they will be using or communicating with each other. So you have to configure that. Then for supplying plant, you have to assign the purchase order type, the delivery order type, delivery document type you would be using, and the availability rule you will be using. So these are the three steps you need to create. The other things which you need to consider is what is the movement types normally used. So if it is within the company code, when you create a delivery, the movement type is 641, and if it's outside the company code, the movement type is 643, and when you do MIGO, the movement type is 101 in both the cases. Now I will show this scenario. First I will show you the configuration behind it. It comes under purchasing, MM. So if you see here, it's SPRO, materials management, purchasing, purchase order, set up a stock transport order. The data which is required is define shipping data for plant. As I mentioned, for the first step is we need to create a plant for our, so this is our first step. Create customer. So I'm using this example 1200. If I double click it here, I have this plant number as a customer, the sales organization used, the distribution channel, and division. So you assign a customer number to a plant. Now you are looking at receiving plant as 1200. This is receiving plant. Now so this delivery type and check rule. The next step we need to check is this one. For 1200, supplying plant 1500 and receiving plant is 1200, we will be using NB as the document type. Purchasing. There is over delivery tolerance limit and under delivery tolerance limit. That is fine with us. So we have to assign a relationship between supplying and receiving plant with a purchase document type. Then for the supplying plant, we need to assign what is the relationship. So for 1500 plant, we would be using standard purchase order. What is the delivery type we will be using? NLCC, and the checking rule will be A. So this is what we have to define. Now the most important step we have to do is let's see the scenario. So now I will be creating a scenario. The first step is creation of a purchase order. ME21N. So NB is my standard purchase order type. My vendor number is, this is my supplying plant. I'm giving my material, purchase quantity, and what is my receiving plant? I'm giving 1200. So what we have done now here is we are creating a purchase order to a supplying plant. So we are creating a purchase order on this vendor for this material with this quantity from a X plant. Purchase order is a document type used by It's similar to our SD document type. The transaction code is ME21N. So we have to enter the header data also. So this is purchasing organization, highest form of entity in Like in SD we have sales organization, in purchasing organization is the highest entity. So we have entered that. Availability check is done. We are getting a message saying that can we meet the delivery? Yes, that is fine. So this is the message. So I will save this one. So now the purchase order has been created. Now let's see whether this purchase order has a release strategy or not. Let's not get ourselves bothered with release strategy and everything. We will just see. We have to know what is the steps. So ME21N. Click on other purchase order number because this is not the number we created. We will go here. This is our purchase document number. So this is the purchasing document we have created. Click on header. You can see the delivery dates. It has confirmed quantity because it's available on our 1500 plant. Check the release strategy. It says not release. So we have to release this purchase order. To release the purchase order, you have to go to /NME29N. Change the document number. Enter. To release a purchase order, you have to just click on this symbol, release. So now this is the release. The status has been changed to release. And now save. Now you can see, similar to an SD order, it has net price, it has all other tabs these fancy tabs. We should not get bogged down with anything. What we should be concerned is the vendor, the plant, the receiving plant, material we want, what is the date we want. We should be concerned with those things only. Now the purchase order release, the supplying plant now creates a delivery. Delivery is created by VL10B. This is a separate transaction. So herein you can see other rules. Rule for determining default value for delivery creation date. So we will just use this one. Instead of 2, we will be using, we know which is the shipping point, but still for your sake of understanding, I will just remove everything. Just enter the purchase order number. I know the number is 47 and just execute. So it is a green light, means it is ready for delivery. Now select it and click on this truck. Sorry, create in background. Sorry, click on this one. Create in background. Now select it. It should have created the delivery. It is determining batch for the material. Batch determine is active, that's why it's creating. So it has now created. This is the purchase order number. It has found the ship to party. I can show you that one for 1200. You can see 124328 is the number. So purchase order automatically has converted, is determined for this plant the ship, the number. Thank you. Let's wait for